It's 1990. Shattered Image. Image is breaking up. Something's happening. This is the 90s. This is 96. Let's call it this. So Wildstorm Wildstorm Studios has broken off with Image. Liefeld already left. We just did Heroes Reborn, or we're in the middle of it because that went an entire year. I think Jim Lee has made his contract with DC. And we need to shatter the Image universe, so we call Kurt Busiek to give a general outline. But he's not the real writer on this. So it's Barbara Kessel, right? So she's probably doing all the dialogue here. Let's do a crisis with Image, so we can put all these studios in their own in-universe stuff, and they don't need to play with each other anymore. How about that? Now, why I didn't know about Shattered Image. I eBayed these because I finished reading Local Man, and this series plays a pivotal role in what goes on in Local Man. If you haven't read Local Man or haven't heard about it, it was a great read. I appreciated that a lot. I'll put you up here. I appreciated Local Man quite a bit because it did something with this Drek. Or I hate to call it Drek. This was an incomprehensible read. I'm not going to read it again. That's my problem, even in my 20s, and I was the target audience of Image Comics as I was in my 20s, because they're just pinup comics. But back to Local Man. Local Man made something of it, and it didn't pretend the 90s Image Comics weren't anything that they weren't. But these are characters. Alan Moore did something similar in his run on Supreme. Others have done it too. So even though they seem stock and they're all very form-fitting, let's do something with the characters. So these 4 issues were cited in Local Man, as well as I think a couple issues of Wildcat. So I like that they did those callbacks, even though I'm sure... I mean, you'd have to have some diehard Image readers that were totally into this. But okay, so I read the Shattered Image, 4 issues. Basically, the rundown is it's Crisis for the Image universe, metaverse, whatever, and to break up these studios into their own universes, and maybe they can cross the line. But what I appreciated about this, how they did it at the end with some kind of... well, maybe we'll get to that, or maybe we won't, because it doesn't matter. Characters started to forget about the other characters that other studios own. So at this time you had Larson, Savage Dragon, you had the Silvestri, Witchblade shows up in this. You had, obviously, Silvestri's just Top Cow. I don't know what Larson's company was called offhand. And you had, McFarlane, there's Spawn. Yeah, you had the McFarlane stuff, and then of course you had the Jim Lee's Wildstorm. So that was all that was left, because Liefeld already left. So I don't think Liefeld characters are in this. If they are, they're subtle. They're not there. Yeah, the Supreme's not here. Glory's not here. Youngblood doesn't show up. I think we go into this assuming that the Liefeld verse in Image already broke off, and these are the 3 or 4 we have left. Okay, so that's your story. That's your general. Here's how you split up universes, storyline. Nothing new here. Again, it's not pretending to be. I imagine that Kurt Busiek could knock this out on the porch and then get Barbara Kessel to fill in some of the writing, such as it is. And then, of course, you have different artists for each issue. Yep, that's what I remember from the 90s. Right there. And some of that still continues today. I forget who Shadowhawk was, or who owned Shadowhawk. Sorry, Amy. So we're in the 90s. This is it. This is swimsuit issues. Okay, that's what's going on. Yeah. Something's happening. Action. But this series is really about 90s again. I don't know who these people are. This is about Savant. I knew nothing about this character, but she gets into a lot of poses like this, so we can the gaze of Savant is obvious, and we'll see it again a few times. I hate to think that's my entire takeaway. It might be. But this is the typical 90s character. This is a Jubilee template. We have the short hair. This works for me, don't get me wrong, but we have the short hair, we have the aviator glasses, we usually a jacket, and there we go. So we see it in Jubilee, female Bucky from Heroes Reborn. There's Heroes Reborn stuff right there. The Liefeld takeoff in Fighting America is a version of this too, with the little glasses and everything. So this is Savant. I don't know anything about this character. I think the character has a new name now, if it exists at all. But she's finding something out, and she's going through the portal and finding out what's going on. So here she is finding it out, and then we see the crisis happening in Image worlds plural. Again. This is the angle we get with Savant. That's the character right there. And okay, so the artist is Tony Daniel. That doesn't ring a lot of bells. We have a different artist on each one, but okay. So Crisis is happening. I remember some of the Gen11. Good God, it's never mind. This is why people bought Gen11. I don't remember any. I think Fairchild was her name. I forget who this one. Boom Boom from New Mutants / X-Force. I think she later became Meltdown. That she had the Savant style too. So that did appeal to a particular group of geeks. I happen to have been one of them. The nerdy, smart scientist one, but okay. So there we go. So Savage Dragon, something's happening. I have no idea who these people are. I Spawn. I could never get into Spawn. I had like the first 10 issues or something was going. I get the premise. I don't think it ever ended. And then Medieval Spawn came, and then okay. So here we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5. So I don't know, maybe Shadowhawk is the 5th. I don't know who did Shadowhawk. Sorry, I'm not going to pretend I'm a total. I didn't buy these books. One, because they never came out in a sane way. They never had a production schedule, so it lost a lot of readers that way. And pinup art will only go so far. So there's Savant again. I don't know why we're not. So something's happening and somebody's laughing and crack. Hey, this predates the Superboy crack from when all that went down. And we can see what else is going on during the Shattered Image time. We got Astro City happening. Deviate. Okay, here's the thing about Deviate. I never read an issue, but how do I tell this story in a way that makes sense? If you turn Deviate upside down and look at it, it looks like BVD, which was a brand of underwear in the 90s. So my sense is that whoever created Deviate was sitting on the toilet and looking down at his boxer shorts and seeing the DVD label and looking at it upside down and thought, hey, that looks like BVD looks like Deviate. I'm going to create a comic called Deviate. That's always been my theory on that. Go ahead and share with each other on that. All right. So yeah, this is the next issue where Savant's giving a speech, and of course we see more of the backside of Savant. So that's issue 1. Issue 2 goes the same way. Can I stop? So this is Michael Ryan. So Savant's giving a speech about the upcoming Black Ops. So again, Michael Ryan's take on Savant's curves. There we go. I don't think we see. Now, this guy looks like Supreme, so maybe we do have some Liefeld people in. I don't know. I had no idea what was going on in this book. Zealot, that was her name, right? This generic looking guy. This guy looks like a Supreme, but I just don't know. I'm sorry if I'm insulting 90s fans out there. Okay, so the take on this is people start disappearing. So, you know, in Crisis, everything was merging. Here, things start disappearing. I think I'm going too long here. I don't care. So, you know, Image, again, not pretending to be anything it's not. So Savant's still looking at some stuff. Savant's saying something's wrong here. Savant's talking to Zealot. Help us, what? Something's happening. Something's happening. And, hey, the Youngblood guy. So they are here. Oh, okay. Well, all right. So, you know, they're still getting along enough to say, okay, let's get this done so we can then break these things off and go our own separate ways and see what happens. You know, Shadowhawk shows up in Local Man. Again, all this is because I read Local Man. And this was cited, and I'm like, what's going on here? So we had the break. So, you know, good on, and I wish I could remember the creators of Local Man. I'm sorry, I never heard of them before, but I read the book and I was really impressed. How, you know, their fondness for this material and what they could do with it. Great. There's Spawn. We had some Gen 13 stuff. Okay, we're just going to go through the rest of this now. I don't care. This is going to be a long video. So this is Witchblade. So this chapter break could be Witchblade shows up. And it's odd. I think this is an early appearance. I never read Witchblade either. I knew she looked like that, but you know, I think she calls herself. Oh yeah, but watch out for the Witchblade. Don't totally control it. So I guess the Witchblade is new. Okay, I remember the TNT Witchblade series. Everybody remember that? Okay, so Grifter number 5. Grifter. This is Wolverine knockoff stuff. Just always cracked me up. I know they've tried. If you like Grifter, that's cool. Every character is somebody's favorite character. So you know that's fine. Guy with cape. Guy with so things are happening. What? Okay. We're on the spaceship. We don't see Savant anymore, so you know my interest. Oh, there she is. See, I was just to lose my interest in the book here, and the Savant shows up, and you need to go sit down. So there's Shadowhawk, right? Okay, we're only in the middle of this. Okay. Now the cat knocked my camera off kilter, and Stormwatch number 42. That's where we are. Hey, that's the Stormwatch guy. Here's a digression again. I read all the Stormwatch trades and the Authority stuff back in the widescreen era. It didn't work for me. That's my digression. Not my thing. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. So who's behind this? So this is what's behind this. Entropy, or whatever this is. And she wants something bad. So there we go. And then Spawn's doing something, and then yay happens. And we're almost done with our crisis. Okay, so what so we're finally splitting stuff up. So Savant gets to, I don't know whose legs these are. What is this? Oh, those are fingers. This is the hand. Somebody's hand. But she's okay. So this is the series for the Savant fan, for sure. Yeah, this is a Gen 13 person. Don't remember her name. Oh, it's all splash pages, of course, so we can just get through it. Now, some beats that happen in here, which are kind of fun, is that they bring in like Marvel and DC characters. Vampirilla shows up because we're going to get to, you know, we have to, sometimes crossover books are going to happen. So that happens. So who's, now I forgot the artist now because, you know, we don't see any more Savant the way we do. So Tony Daniel again. Didn't Tony Daniel do? Why is Tony Daniel a familiar name? Yeah. Okay, so Tony Daniel did the pencils for the first issues. All right. So here's our own version of a. Now I don't know. I just said, you know, I didn't like the Authority stuff, but I read it, and then I read the other one with the Fantastic Four villains. What the hell? I can't believe I'm blanking on it, but they discuss the temporal collapse, and I like it. This no, one more shot. There we go. We got it. There she is. There's Spawn talking about something. Ah, once again, boy, Tony Daniel, I think took quite a liking to this character, Savant. I'll give him that. Okay, so now here's the fun we're having. So Batman shows up talking to Spawn because they had that Batman Spawn crossover, and then we have the X-Men here in shadows. Her name was She, right? Never read an issue. There's Spidey. Spidey shows up. Vampirilla shows up. I don't know who these guys were supposed to be. And then this is all Astro City #5 was happening at the time. Homage books. Okay, that's right. And so we all have to split and go our own ways, everybody. I know it's tough, but we won't remember each other. And there's no more. It's happening, and we're all alone. Only unity can defend against entropy. And if they don't feel that, if they don't honestly feel it, and then, okay. Oh, who could forget more Savant happening here? There it is. That is Shattered. Oh no, I thought we were done. Sorry, we have to do this now. This whatever. Sometimes it's comical. It's one thing. Never mind. I don't want to. I feel creepy enough now. But okay, so we're into. Oh, come on. Beep beep beep. I don't know if I feel any better after my shattered image overview. But there it is.